All right, here we go. Instagram will do its thing. Always takes a second to kick off these lives, folks. Well, all right, let's go. Welcome to Unmuzzled Chat. Folks, I'm going to rip off my muzzle today. It is crazy. There is an evil in this life all around us. We must acknowledge. It has effectively been poisoning not just our hearts, our minds, our bodies, but yes, our very souls. We must acknowledge that we are not naturally immune to all these attacks in this current state. These are grave threats to fulfilling our purpose here, our very freedoms, our loved ones, our futures in this experience. I personally feel the greatest solution to the spiritual warfare and our very mortal lives is to put on the armor of our loving Creator God. To truly live free in this life. Let's not stinking mess around. I just got to verify one quick thing. Maybe I prematurely shut off the tunage. Come on. All right, it seems as though we're all good. Let's not mess around. I'm going to jump right into a screen share. This is something I pulled up the other day with the warriors that we got to magnify their voice. We need to understand and grasp that there are so many men, true patriots, true warriors, that are even fulfilling their oath after getting the boot from our forces, from where to even begin, what to even state, how to articulate. God, give me the words to get past people's defenses, triggers, insecurities, fear, weakness, and touch their hearts and give them the strength and the clarity to properly acknowledge these threats, that we will see the opportunities that lie before all our feet. Accept the responsibility we all have for one another as your children, but also as citizens of this country and citizens of any country, to rule out the evil corruption that is ruling over us. It is we, the people, that need to gain back the keys and the resilience to ensure a better tomorrow and less suffering of too many all around us. This very clip, this could be all we need to play this episode if we would actually sit and absorb it to its fullest. We have whistleblowers dropping deeply disturbing reports showing the CIA was paid to mislead all of us, the public, even our service members, on the very COVID pandemic. It was a planned pandemic, okay? Planned. There was nothing organic about COVID. We need to absorb this. The information is out. Why else was the CIA weaponized against we the people? The talking heads, mainstream media, social medias. It was weaponized, folks. It's fifth generation warfare. This in and of itself exposes it. And we have an opportunity, and we won't get to the bottom of truth unless we all take our roles, our responsibilities serious in this very moment in time. The intent, we've already laid it out. We want to ensure health. We want to ensure we become the best version of ourselves. And we want to ensure a secure future. All these experts have come out and stated with all the technological advances, we could be thriving not just as a nation and want for nothing, essentially. Not just, but it's not just as a nation. It's a world population. Everyone should have access to clean water. And there should be an abundance of food to where not a single soul ever goes to bed hungry. Why have we not achieved this? Well, because evil has been effective in this world. This is worth fighting for. This is worth dying for. And I am so convicted on just this. I really hope that people can grasp it to a point and realize that there's so many individuals out there already doing the heavy lifting. We're trying to help connect the dots, trying to bridge that gap on behalf of everyone in this country and everyone worldwide, other than the evildoers. That's what we want to expose so we can secure our stinking futures. Let's not let it be disheartening anymore. Let's get on board. Solely, all we really need is engagement. From shares, likes, comments, follows. It's not a selfish journey Unmuzzled Chat is seeking. It truly is selfless. You don't need. If it is an Unmuzzled Chat that speaks to you, check out. Why did I just brain fart? The Forgotten Soldiers podcast. Check out all the other Patriots. We need more organic growth to the individuals that are showing up on the front lines. I pray that this speaks to you. So without further ado,
intelligence danger.
Let's hear what these individuals have to say. This is nothing conspiratorial. This is literally what's happening. And they've been providing the receipts, providing the data. What is it? Why do we have this disconnect? Is to actually absorbing what is going on around us and the severity of the consequences if we don't change the trajectory of history where we do nothing over egregious outcomes. We have a very grave opportunity. The evildoers have lost control of their propagandist narrative, and the actual truth is coming out. And it is warfare. It's information warfare, it's spiritual warfare, it's biological warfare. And until we truly grasp what has taken place to gain the proper momentum in certain arenas and get engaged, there are worse things coming down the pipe. Now, I don't mean to be a doom and gloomer. I actually want to breathe light and hope, because I know I wouldn't be here if I didn't feel we could have a grave positive impact. And beyond actually saving mortal lives, I truly feel we could save souls along the way through all these personal testimonies. God has been the greatest blessing to my life. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play this in its entirety. I might pause it a few times just to interject. But if we could get someone to, in fact, verify that you could hear this okay in the comments, I would appreciate that.
Dangerously compromised, warned CIA and FBI whistleblowers. You're not the only one to report this, of course. But
you know what? See, I listen to things at 1.5 speed. Let's go ahead and put it normal, because this is pretty powerful stuff.
Intelligence dangerously compromised, warned CIA and FBI whistleblowers. You're not the only one to report this, of course. But I was reading your report on it this morning. This is something that you have been warning about for quite some time, and the allegations stem from a whistleblower who has come forward to the House, a whistleblower from the Central Intelligence Agency, I have the relevant letter here from the House Oversight Committee. The whistleblower alleges that a CIA team was paid to change its assessment of the origins of COVID-19. Do I have that broadly correct? Is that your understanding of the?
Yes, sir. Can we absorb that? These private agencies, like, they've been so corrupted and they're working against we the people. They should lose all their secrecy. Everything's backwards. We have no privacy. It's clearly who they're targeting. They've been targeting race and individuals, but generally the American populace themselves. They've been creating all this division. We must see past all their true propaganda tactics. Acknowledge how effective it's been and unify. We need a higher percentage of unification than we currently have in this country. And we also need to ramp up the passion of those involved. If we get a high enough, passionate enough, percentage, it could be a lower percentage. But we don't know what that is until we see actual shifts happening. It's pretty simple. Any individual, right? Let's just put evil on one side, good on the other. It's going to be harder for that individual to fulfill the good side of things if evil is more threatening. There's more pressure. There's more. So we need to ensure our voices are heard. And if we're unified enough and those individuals, for whatever reason, sold their souls and they're not fulfilling what we, the people, want, then we will simply replace them. Or we'll imprison them if, in fact, they're actually fulfilling crimes against humanity in actual, really evil narratives. We'll hold civil tribunals, military tribunals, whatever it takes. We'll seek accountability in the proper direction. But this is so telling. We must fully grasp this. Sorry, let's continue.
The report. This is obviously a bombshell report.
Yes.
Deeply, deeply troubling. I'm glad that the House is going to look into it. We should look into it. What caught my attention is you point out in your article on this that the government has deliberately violated the COVID Origins Act, which this body passed unanimously, which the House passed, the president signed into law. Maybe he wasn't so happy about signing it into law, but he did. It is the law of the land, and which required that all of the government's intelligence on the origins of COVID be made public. Instead, what the administration did was offer up a summary, which they then in turn heavily redacted. And you point out that in addition, the administration refused to report the names of scientists who fell ill at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in 2019, despite the fact they know the names. The intelligence community knows the names. Now, you're absolutely right to say this is a violation of the COVID Origins Act, and I would know because I wrote it.
Can we grasp everything he just stated there? Things aren't operating as they are designed. And they've effectively pulled the wool over our eyes, misled us to stand up this pandemic, to strip us from, it's worse than just stripping us from our freedoms and ramping up fear to gain more control over the population. There were so many things fulfilled in this singular pandemic. Too much to even go over right now, and I don't want to get too off topic as to what this is exposing. But they've lied to us. They withheld information, and we'll continue because he actually gets into the social media platforms and everything, and it brings clarity for us. There's nothing conspiratorial about it. We all have been duped to a huge degree, and you could see with the level of compliance how effective their fear, all their propaganda outlets, this whole thing they stood up was. the majority of the population initially more so complied with illegal criminal mandates.
So I'm not very happy about the fact that this administration continues to flout, completely ignore public law passed, again, unanimously by the United States Senate. For what end, I can't tell. I can't figure out why in the world. I don't know what partisan gain there is to it. Why in the world they want to lie.
Money, control, power, bribes, threats, all the things we know that are happening with elected officials, selected individuals. Once again, they caved to the evil side. We didn't put much pressure. Now, luckily, we had enough, and then the pressure started, so they couldn't continue with their COVID tyranny. Luckily, that ended. Luckily. But to this day, so many people are living out a delusion, and we're so disconnected. And that's why I've sounded the alarm on all these elitists. They've said it themselves, and we must acknowledge the threats of being, quote, hackable animals. Quote, these leaders having the technology to control the masses. It's only through acknowledgement and a meekness and a humbling that we will start to really see it for what it is and push back. But it's hard when they got so many people to engage in receiving a bioweapon, to accept that, shoot, under the guise of something that could potentially protect me, could be harming me. I get how it would be really hard to acknowledge, but you were coerced, like you were manipulated. I'm not casting any judgment, and my heart actually goes out to your situation. And I want to even improve upon gathering all the information as to eradicating that from your system. So in fact, you are whole and healthy yet again. Biowarfare is no joke. I would know I'm fighting a bioweapon that's old school, that we paid for and have no idea as to... Let's just continue, shall we?
To the American people. You conclude your article by saying the government has become extremely comfortable with lying to us. Just explain what you mean by that, and tell us why you think this is so significant.
Extremely comfortable lying to we the people. Our government institutions, our three-letter agencies, our health services didn't fulfill the very definition of any of their titles. They were incentivized, and that's what became more so the catalyst. Like, once again, the pressure came more so from one side and not the other. So it's hard for good working individuals or to really grasp and understand evil's intents, that people would actually, on this massive a scale, do something so horrific, fulfill, in fact, crimes against humanity. This whole COVID, this whole shot solution infringed upon every single line item built out in the Nuremberg Code. You could look into it yourself. So yes, this 100% falls under crimes against humanity. But let's really expose their tactics here. This is powerful information.
Well, sure, and just on the very specific point, if we were the first to identify the three people that contracted the coronavirus in China, they were the people working on gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Wall Street Journal confirmed.
And this information did not get out to the population. They more so controlled the information. It wasn't gain-of-function research. It had nothing to do with the scientists. This was a natural thing with a bat and a pangolin, and get out of here.
Our reporting 2 weeks later, and then I think it was 1 week after that or a few days after that, the ODNI report came out, and it did not reveal this information. And we had multiple sources, the Wall Street Journal. We have no idea if the Wall Street Journal sources were the same, But I think we're clearly seeing a lot of abuses of power occurring
Yes.
in multiple executive agencies. So
Pretty much all.
We've seen it with the FBI. One of the things that we noted yesterday was that we saw perverse incentives in the FBI to go after so-called domestic violent extremism, pulling an agent off of things like child exploitation onto really hyping a set of cases that particularly appeared to be aimed at spreading disinformation around the idea that there is a significant increase.
And we, the people, got targeted, okay? They were controlling the information. You control the information, you control the populace. And then you can actually stand up a pandemic with defective testing, with false solutions under the guise of solutions, demonize the actual solutions that to this day have far more impact. I mean, we're not waking up fast enough. This bioweapon is still available on the shelf. It's being integrated into flu and childhood vaccine schedules, everything. It's being integrated into food. We're not even going to be given the choice if we don't get to the bottom of this, if we don't hold these individuals accountable, if we don't abolish the institutions that ended up corrupted and rule out the corruption. They projected everything on the people as though, oh, they're the extremists, they're the misinformationists, they're the propagandists, when they themselves were the ones fulfilling it. They were the fascists colluding as our government body to our detriment with social media platforms, news media outlets, everything. What are we doing? We should be excited. This is a great blessing. It's horrific because the actual impact it's had on our function, on our health, on fertility, life expectancy has been horrendous. But if we could rule out the true evildoers, we could get back to more so flourishing. More importantly, spiritual salvation. Fulfill the very purpose as to why we're here in the first place. There's a great silver lining. And I'm blessed to be in this era. To put in the time, do the research, because it's just become so convicting as to why I'm here. That's why I can't even imagine going back to swinging a hammer or my personal bank account. What does that matter on the current trajectory we're on? And we don't write this shit. What does any of that matter? We all got a responsibility to just be excited to show up and fulfill that.
Of domestic extremism when we don't think that the evidence shows that. And now we see this report that came out that suggests that there's an FBI whistleblower who says that 6 of the 7 analysts had said it was a laboratory origin and that they had reversed their position in some exchange for some sort of a salary bonus or some sort of financial incentive.
Corrupt.
So, and we've been, so we keep documenting it. We just keep finding agencies, DHS involved in trying to create a disinformation governance board. I keep, the censorship industrial complex, we just keep finding new parts of it. So
they had to double down to continue the momentum of their whole propaganda narratives. There was the fact checker leg. There was that group he just talked on. I mean, it's crazy how everything was so weaponized against we the people. We just gonna accept that type of outcome? Are we? I'm not. Because if we don't face it, truly, it only goes downhill from here.
In the research for this testimony, we discovered this deep trust alliance that had, what appears to be ties to the security and intelligence agencies of the United States government.
Wow.
Appears to be trying to set itself up, although it's now kind of ghosted after 2021, but it appeared to try to set itself up to decide what is reality and what are fakes for people. And I think it should have a chilling effect in that that's not how we do free speech in America.
Yeah.
We don't have government agencies. We don't have cutouts or front groups that appear to have support from those agencies telling the American people what's true, what's false, or telling social media companies behind the scenes what they should be censoring.
And just to that last point, we
So
now
dangerous.
know, thanks to the case Missouri versus Biden, that that's exactly what
Yes.
this administration, from the White House to the FBI to the State Department to the CDC to CISA, have all been meeting with the social media companies for years now, giving them direct commands about.
And it's not just then. Yeah, getting direct commands as to what's true, what's misinformation, what to censor. All this control. It's what kept us in the dark. It's what ramped up and misguided and deceived so many individuals to actually getting a bioweapon, rolling up their sleeve. There's so much I want to say, and this is so shocking. Maybe the best thing is not to say anything at all. Just sit and absorb this level of tyranny. This is egregiously unacceptable. It was a huge infringement upon our First Amendment. If we really grasped just this pandemic and the institutions and everything that was behind, there's nowhere they could hide. We would abolish all of this. We would put individuals in that will listen to we the people, that will give us full transparency. And at the point they seem to be jeopardized in any way, shape, or form, they're done. They're out. Next, it's a service role, a service position. It's not a career like so many of these individuals have sold out to their slave masters to fulfill their bidding to our detriment.
About what to censor and take down, naming specific accounts and specific speech
Yes.
they want suppressed,
Yes.
threatening the social media platforms if they don't do it, and remarkably, and I'm quoting the court here, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and there's a huge evidentiary record. Everybody can go, don't take my word for it, go read the record. It's all on the record.
Yes.
From the district court. What the Fifth Circuit said is, remarkably, the social media platforms all complied.
They all complied. And it's not just complied. They're complying to this day. I'm surprised as to what I've been able to post on Facebook. However, certain hashtags, certain things, it seems like there's things that have been pulled down. And there was some type of verbiage as, if I continue kind of do that I might receive strike/a ban. But I didn't legitimately receive a strike or a ban like I have on YouTube. To this day on YouTube, just even simply reporting on the VAERS report itself, having people check that out to themselves, their own information, not even like really heavily polarized, like, hey, this is killing people, just stating like, look at the information yourself. Could it be that this is harmful enough that we should pull it from, people becoming a choice for people to potentially harm themselves? Even touching on it lightly and posing questions to that extent, to this day on YouTube, you will get a strike. You will be banned. Same thing with TikTok. Same thing with a lot of these controlled platforms. Facebook colluded insanely, not just to our detriment regarding the pandemic, but also politically. And it itself became the catalyst to shift the tide and influence illegally through criminal activity that is unacceptable in an election. And we're accepting the egregious outcomes. The infringement on our First Amendment. So many individuals lost their livelihoods due to this. Yeah, we can't accept this outcome. It is so dangerous. Our founding fathers came from places that infringed on, like, that would silence them if they challenged narratives. This is a hierarchy. It's a two-tiered system. Rules for thee and not for me. It's a dictatorship. We can't even question things. That's what our Second Amendment's for. The fact we haven't resorted to more extreme measures at this point, to me, really does become proof as to how diminished we really are. How threatening this is to our freedoms, our very lives, everything. Everything. What does it matter? What does it stinking matter in our personal little lives that we could gain and rid ourselves of the responsibility of showing up? Does it mean we got to resort to our Second Amendment? We're getting direly close, it seems. But we should obviously proudly stand with our Second Amendment rights, but we unify and are loud enough through legal means. We don't have to resort to that. We could gain the proper momentum through speech, fighting on behalf of freedom of speech. I'd say even abolishing or redesigning. We legally should be going after every single one of these social media platforms on behalf of all of us. This is my mechanic. All right. This is a very important call. I apologize, but we're going to get back in this and I'll shut up.
All of them. They all agreed to be tools of the United States government and to censor what they were ordered to censor, to suppress the speech they were ordered to suppress. You're a journalist. Tell us about the threat to the First Amendment. And by the way, just for the record, I think it's important to establish the Federal Court of Appeals said directly, in no uncertain terms, this was a clear violation of the United States Constitution. The First Amendment does not allow the federal government to use private companies to censor when they wouldn't be able to do it themselves. And
that's fascism right there, meeting the very definition. And it is tyrannical. It's a hierarchy. It's communism. Freaking commies. And we're the victims of it all, folks. We're under the illusion of freedom in this country at this point. Can we absorb what they're exposing right here? All our institutions have been turned against we the people to such a horrific outcome. This is the smoking gun. We need to get over ourselves and humble ourselves as to no matter what decisions we made under the pressures and misinformation and the true propagandists, and accept what's taken place. Acknowledge it should be a very humbling experience for us all. And then unify and provide the solutions. I need more of you to step forward and either financially support what we're doing here or share this to the freaking moon, to whatever social ability, like social network abilities you got. Help us further the message to create proper momentum and solutions. Share your stories, what you've went through, what you've seen, what you've experienced, because through your stories, I don't know any other better way than what we're trying to do here. Magnifying people's voices and personal walks is to, like, how else are we more so gonna get through and break through to individuals that are lost sheep, that don't understand this? Everyone applies their unique gifts, spirits, energies into this. It's gonna lead to more breakthroughs on other individuals. So I'm a limited being and I need your help in that regard. Help direct this podcast. Give us links. Give us comments, likes, guest on the podcast, reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. We need to capture more stories to face these very threats.
Exactly what this administration has done. Tell us as a journalist the threat to free speech, to freedom of the press from this kind of collusion between a very powerful government trying to hijack every media company it can get its hands on.
Well, sure. I mean, if you just start on the issue of the COVID vaccine, for example, public interest advocates spent a very long time trying to get requiring the pharmaceutical companies to list the side effects of their drugs in their advertisements. Here we saw a situation where people were sharing information about the side effects of the vaccine on Facebook and other social media platforms, and the White House demanding that it be taken down, Facebook complying, acknowledging that it was often true information. We also saw that Facebook's own internal research showed that actually it increases vaccine hesitancy when you censor.
I'm trying to utilize Facebook, realizing there's a big bulk of the population on there. There's a big bulk of the population on YouTube and TikTok, but they are heavily censored platforms. Truly, still to this day, trying to control the narratives and propaganda, keep people blind that this is still a safe and effective thing. No, it is not. Fact. There are doctor upon doctor upon doctor and individuals. My own personal stories and experiences with ivermectin has kept me well when others went down and got sick. One's more healthy than I. And the same results is coming from other doctors, where they achieved dang near 100% health through these means. You look at the vaccine, you look at the murderous hospital protocols, it's not even a comparison, folks. They've censored this. What is the real intention behind all of this? Not providing health services, as Bill Gates stated in his TED Talk. And on multiple occasions, this positive outcome that we could have through all these health services, healthcare, vaccinations, and how it just yields magically a depopulation effect, upwards of 10 or 15%, 10 or 15%. Even if it was not that effective, at a 10%, do the math. 8.5 billion people. Do the math. What's 10% of that? It's nothing under the guise of health. It's nothing under the guise of love or care. They do not care about you. They've worded it themselves. We're a bunch of useless eaters. We'll own nothing and be happy. They view us less than cattle, humanity. A bunch of useless eaters, quote, Klaus Schwab. They've said it themselves. We're going to continue to air this till we absorb what is actually going on. Then you could see these globalists, the New World Order, World Health Organizations, one world government, essentially, how they've infiltrated all of this to their benefit. It's been the biggest distribution of wealth throughout human history, this pandemic. They have more funds to go towards this type of warfare, spiritual, mental, propaganda, biological warfare. We're losing the choice here, folks. What's happening in laboratories with mosquitoes, weaponization of insects, the spraying of our skies. Think about it. Just right here, Facebook. We are not waking up fast enough. The fact we are still, I don't want to support Facebook. The fact is, I'd happily delete my account today if the general population absorbed the actual threat of the tyrannical colluding. It happened, but we're not absorbing that, and we're not transitioning to free speech platforms. So I'm trying to utilize those platforms to get people onto freaking free speech platforms such as Rumble and Telegram, and more so X to an extent. But even then, we must ensure it doesn't become tyrannical in any way, shape, or form. And it's moved in the right direction, but there's still alarming censorship to an extent with certain individuals, untouchable topics. We're not learning fast enough. That I fear that, let's say, and we're not to fear, but Rumble's been such a great blessing. Who's to say? They don't effectively threaten the owners and family members and certain things, or simply take them out and find loopholes as to taking things over, and we lose that. We got to acknowledge, we need to learn that, hey, everything that exists on Facebook could exist seemingly overnight if we shift to, you name it, platform, free speech platform. We got to be able to absorb that. So if or when, let's say Rumble even gets tyrannical, we jump over, we stand up a free speech one, and it's all there overnight. We can't even absorb as to how manipulative this has become. I believe even myself, to this day, has defective wiring due to these tactics to this day. And I'm doing my darndest to step back, look at the bigger picture, question things, do my research, use critical thinking, rational thinking, and more so. And that's where it more so takes a community. No one individual can essentially provide all the solutions. I want to magnify your voices on this very podcast. You could potentially benefit your future self by blowing this up, and then maybe 6 months from now, you're coming on here and you're saying some profound things. And you benefited yourself by supporting and sharing and getting it to a point that you now could reach millions by guesting on it. It's a collaborated effort. That is the only way. No one is riding in on a white horse. If you're only going to show up every 4 years and put it on a ballot, that in and of itself is more so even threatened. We got to show up in other means to ensure it's one person, one vote. We know what took place in 2020. We know what took place in 2022. Let's stop lying to ourselves. Am I coming across harsh? I kind of need to be, I feel, to an extent for certain individuals. But I want to breathe light. There is grave opportunity. This is such a blessing to be able to be speaking freely, be speaking unmuzzled, and fight against the true regime that is after us spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally. We can beat them back together. I know this.
Those stories that people, if they want to be comfortable with a new drug, they need to be able to talk it out a bit. So Facebook told the White House that actually it would backfire. The White House insisted. Facebook caved in because, according to the Facebook executive Nick Clegg, he said, well, we've got this other business that we need to do with the White House, which is the data flows, meaning we need the White House to help us negotiate with the Europeans to bring our data back to the United States. So I think the Fifth Circuit Court did a great job in identifying the clearly coercive measures, but I don't think it went far enough because the First Amendment prevents the government from abridging or infringing on free speech, offering an incentive to social media platforms, such as helping them with their dispute with Europe, in exchange for censoring often true content, though of course the First Amendment also protects false content. I think it's a very chilling effect. I think it's very disturbing. Anybody that cares about holding powerful entities to account should be disturbed by what we saw take place on Facebook, on Twitter.
Yes.
And, I think we just have to remind
YouTube.
ourselves, and what disturbs me when I hear sort of the conversation around AI coming into it sort of with the beginner mind, I hear a lot of talk about how to protect the public from harm. We have to protect the public from harm. What people are saying is that we need to censor speech.
Under the guise of protection. No, it's tyrannical. It's not protecting. And it's manipulating people to not even thinking truly for themselves, not being free in their own minds.
Censor certain voices, censor disfavored voices because of this idea that it will cause real-world harm. This is a well-documented phenomenon that psychologists have measured where over decades, people have just grossly expanded their definition of things that cause harm.
Yes.
And I think that we need to kind of, this should be a moment for a reset, that free speech is almost absolute in the United States with a few exceptions around immediate incitement to violence, around fraud, around child exploitation. But we allow very open conversation in the United States. It's what makes it so special. So it's been a chilling effect. As a journalist, I've personally been censored by Facebook. I think the platforms are out of control.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Schellenberg. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Utterly out of control, folks.
Intelligence.
Such powerful. I mean, we could just end it on that, but we want to connect more dots. And as you can see here, there's quite a bit of research. I don't know if we're going to get through all this, to be honest. This is one right here that I've been meaning to play for a while. This is how they actually even infiltrated and weeded out good individuals to actually providing health services in our hospitals. This is so tyrannical, and they are no longer practicing medicine. We got to expose it for what it is, to the benefit of we the people. It's another part of this whole regime we cannot sweep under the rug.
Let's go.
She's being escorted out. A nurse.
I am being escorted out of Kaiser Permanente Hospital for my religious beliefs.
Wow.
Because I don't want to get the jab. And
the experimental bioweapon falsely identified as an actual vaccine that's now murdered millions and millions and millions of people and made them infertile and ramped up turbo cancers, all these things. You don't want to comply with the tyrannical. It wasn't your body, your choice regarding the shot. Unbelievable. Shame on that security guard and everyone in part of this institution. At least some of these other nurses, as she states here, is standing with her.
I asked all day for someone to explain to me why my sincerely held religious beliefs are not good enough for Kaiser. And no one was able to do that for me. Bye. So now they're escorting me out because I wanted an answer, and I'm not leaving without an answer. And I have some nurses here who are standing with me in solidarity, and I appreciate that. And I just want all of you to count the cost. I want you to watch this and think what really matters to me, because I am willing to lose my safety and security, my house, everything for
her job. This is so powerful. Bless you, hon. You are a true warrior. I would love to have you on the podcast. We could speak more out on this. I imagine you make that type of sacrifice. There's only greater blessing in this life and the one after for taking stances like this. It's crazy how people ran under the illusion and excused themselves with unrealistic, more so insane. Like, just don't even get me started. We, once again, have not been free in our own minds. This is a rational thinker. Couldn't even question things. They're not even bringing up the actual reasons. And if it was a vaccine and it gave people protection, I mean, this is the disconnect we've had, that people could even run on talking points and demonize other individuals. This is how important, how impactful the true propagandists have been. Because if it was a vaccine providing protections, then it never would have been the actual shaming of the unvaccinated are essentially the ones to be at fault for the whole pandemic. The unvaccinated are. If it truly was providing protections, the insanity of that. It's hard for me to even pay that mind.
for my freedom. And I want you to think about that.
Yeah. Willing to lose it all for her freedom, and wants us to think about that. Good on you. That is so powerful.
Let me ask you, do you believe in religious freedom?
I do.
No, you don't. Why are you escorting her out? No, you don't. masked, compliant, weak man there. Huge part of the problem. You should be standing on behalf of her and doubling down. Wait, why are you escorting this nurse out? Why do you want me to escort her out? You don't believe in a religious free. You're doing what you're told. That's your excuse. Unbelievable. And that led to a culling of very morally upright individuals that would challenge narratives, and more so would have brought in practicing medicine and allowed people life-saving things such as ivermectin and HCQ, and started questioning remdesivir and things of that nature. It's the same thing that what happened with the military. So many things, folks. Lyme disease is the devil in plain sight. We're not going to let this go. Old school biological warfare. It's been proven.
In certain parts of this country, rural areas particularly, people who have or who have had Lyme disease. For some percentage, it's totally life-destroying. So what is that exactly? Back in 2008, a woman called Chris Newby produced a documentary about Lyme.
Some infectious disease doctors, they don't believe in Lyme.
It's hard to digest all of this. It's just so evil.
I met a CIA black ops guy who said in 1962, the weirdest thing he'd ever done was dropping poison ticks on Cuban sugarcane workers. That was Operation Mongoose.
You hear that? Operation Mongoose. Actual biological warfare. And what they did in those labs. Why are they dropping ticks off? Oh, like things they've experimented in the labs. You can see this pandemic was just newer age biological warfare. It was information warfare. So many different tactics to get us to accept the bioweapon itself. Man, it's powerful stuff.
It's the first evidence that we had dropped ticks on a foreign country as a bioweapon. And then the other thing is, one of my filmmaker friends went out to Willy Bergdorfer at the very end. He said, yeah, when I investigated the Lyme disease sickness in the early 80s, there was another organism there. It wasn't just Lyme that was making people sick. It was.
We got to put a stop to biological warfare. This was an interesting perspective because there's a lot we don't know. And one of my biggest gripes with Trump, let's just be honest, to this day, is how he still speaks out on, warp speed, Operation Warp Speed being, amazing and all these things and saving all these lives or whatever. I do believe he was trying to fulfill a solution to fire back the economy. So there's things we don't understand. And his explanation here is like, oh, wow. So it's worth pondering, it's worth thinking. But ultimately, we need to have those more long kind of built out format chats with these individuals to actually get to the bottom. We need transparency. We need the truth. No more secrecy. We must demand that. But let's give this a listen.
Warp speed, best explanation I have for that is this. And this is the brutal mathematics of war. People have been trained to believe that wars are won by the good guys in the last minute of a 1 hour and 23-minute film. And the bad guys die and everybody goes home happy. The truth is, people die. Now, President Trump was faced with watching billions die or millions die. Correct. Now, this is a sort of question that lands on a president's desk, and these are the most difficult issues they must deal with. And so warp speed was
the cabal's
to accelerate
plan.
The release of the drugs, the bioweapon, so fast that the pharmaceutical companies could not produce enough. So
the cabal couldn't produce enough of the harmful actual bioweapon, reigniting our economy. It's going to lead to the death of millions, but potentially save billions and wake people up along the way. It's a very interesting take, that being left the choice, because we weren't in the know enough. And that's why I view the pandemic as a smoking gun. We could truly see evil overextending its hand. That would be a very tough. Imagine if that was in fact the decision, if you were in his position to make. You would think, oh my gosh, the people, I could just sound the alarm on it all and expose it all, that it's a pandemic and the PCR testing. Would we absorb it fast enough? Or now would the pressures of the evil become so whatnot that they actually JFK? They do another assassination. Like they've now tried twice on this man, this individual that's going against the system, against the grain, more so speaking out on behalf of we the people. Do I feel he's entirely... I mean, he's got his defects and there are some red flags. I don't get the blind allegiance to Israel. Is it a potential another strategy of keeping friends close and enemies closer? I don't know. But this is a very interesting take.
Punched out a lot of saline, just anything as long as they got paid. So they were paid a large amount of money per vial after vial of saline solution. He accelerated the process so it broke their system. In doing so, it's my understanding that billions of lives were saved. Millions weren't. But that's the brutal mathematics of war. So when they say that Trump killed millions of people, no, the black hats killed millions of people. The white hats prevented millions more from dying. Warp speed.
Wow. There's something that resonates with me regarding that. There's something about that that's comforting in a weird way, considering what in fact has taken place. And some people are under the delusion just because they ended up getting that saline solution. Oh, it is good for people. But they're still getting sick. There was no anything. So to roll the dice on whether you had an actual biological weapon that has led to the death of millions and disabling and so many very evil, very sickening intended consequences. They're not adverse effects, folks. When you look into the patents and everything behind it, there's a reason as to why Pfizer wanted to withhold all the information for over 70 years. At that point, it doesn't matter. They can control the narrative. They could write it for what they want. It probably would have never come out at that point. We would have never fully grasped the truth. But still, people are unwilling to see what actually has taken place. Let's look into some of the other tactics. Okay, connect more dots, because this is unorganic, what's taken place. And what a beautiful woman, what a beautiful heart to not just stand up and speak out on things, but now actually take action into her own hands and change her whole path in this life, realizing it's right here, right now. Parents, this video is for you.
Parents, this video is for you. It is imperative that we pay attention to what is going on in our schools. I got a permission slip recently from my daughter's school, and we live in a fairly conservative area next to Akron, Ohio. The permission slip was for her to attend health class. Mind you, she is in 5th grade. It had the syllabus on there and a link to show you what material she will be learning. I did some research, and you will be astounded, oh my gosh, blown away by what they are trying to teach my 5th grader.
5th grader.
Watch this video. It is absolutely disgusting.
It's appalling.
Yes, come on, yes, oh yes. Aha! What are you doing there? You've had an apple one day. You'll go blind. I'm coming! How many times is too many to masturbate in one day?
This is 100% the hypersexualization of children. This, in my eyes, is meeting the very definition of pedophile. 5th graders We should be allowing our kids to be kids. You know what? Let's just continue, because she exposes more of the content, and it is appalling. And we're being manipulated, and we're getting put in positions like just of compliance, or maybe even false support. Like, we must see things and acknowledge these war tactics for what they are. And it's nothing shy of war tactics and coming for our children.
Hashtag Ask Amaze!
Disgusting.
There's no limit on the number of times a person can masturbate each day.
I have another question. Sometimes my penis stands up in the air, and it feels good when I touch it.
When your penis stands up, it's called an erection. Girls also have a private part that they may want to touch because it feels nice. The clitoris. It's okay.
Mind you, I'm reminding you, the video is for 5th graders. And we, on the right, are saying that the left is trying to over-sexualize our children. This is exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. And they want to gaslight us and pretend that it's not happening. In what world does a 5th grader need to learn how to masturbate? Now, this is just the beginning.
No world.
They start in 5th grade and they work their way up. Here are just some of the videos that are on this Amaze website. I encourage you to go check them out yourself. This is not the only website that they will use to teach our children as well. The sad part is, in order to get federal funding, they have to do these programs.
When you're born, your sex is assigned in a medical way, but the sex listed on your birth certificate may not necessarily match your gender identity.
Gender identity is a person's inner experience of who they are in terms of gender, their deep personal sense of being male, female, a blend of both, or neither.
And while many people have a gender identity that's the same as their assigned birth sex of female or male, that's not always the case, because gender exists on a spectrum. Like transgender, which means a person whose gender identity is not consistent with their assigned birth sex. Non-binary, which means a person whose identity doesn't fall in the category of either male or female.
This is insanity.
And genderqueer or
you cannot change your sex. There's male and female. Period. The end of story. Anyone in all of this, like, how has this become normalized, folks? You could paint stripes on a freaking cow. It doesn't make it a zebra. Ever. Okay? We cannot become something we're not. I mean, you could have all the mutilation surgeries and pharmaceutical to change hormones. You're not changing your chromosomes. You're not changing what you were. It's crazy that people are literally supporting this destructive, delusional narrative. And if you actually loved them, you would stay based in truth and reality. And I personally feel if we balanced, well, the weaponization of not just this vaccine, that's where it's been the smoking gun on so many things, because now it exposes the whole childhood vaccine schedule. So now there's a detoxification to all these poisons that have been put into our systems under the guise of providing health services and protection and securing our lives. It's unbelievable how corrupt, how we've been blindly entrusting in it all for far too long. And it's a real hard thing to grasp. It is. But imagine we actually eradicate the things that are deteriorating us and causing hormonal imbalances and neurological defects. And it's not just a poisoning of our vaccine schedules, it's a poisoning of our food, air, water. Come on now. You detoxify the body, you balance hormonal and nutritional, you get right on the spiritual, because now you gain back more of that spiritual connection. You realize you connect to a power higher than ourselves in the love of our loving creator, and not fall for the masquerading of the evil one as though he's a loving creator. this doesn't become an issue. I think I personally feel for the majority of confused individuals, it doesn't become an issue. God, we got to stand up.
Gender fluid, which means a person who does not identify themselves as having a specific gender at all.
Does gender identity have to do with being straight or gay?
Actually, no. Gender identity has to do with the way you feel about yourself, while sexual orientation is based on the way you feel toward others. The people.
Luckily, in Ohio, you can opt out. I don't know about other states. You'll have to dig into that further. I found on Ohio Protects Children a opt-out form. I'm going to show it right here for you.
Good on you.
So this form I sent to my principal and assistant principal. They got back to me and said that my daughter will not be attending any health classes whatsoever. Now, mind you, I'll have to do this every single year, every single grade, but I don't mind. The only thing that sucks is I know that other students are going to attend this class, and maybe my daughter will ask them, well, what was the class about? So inevitably, I can't keep her from this because of the public school system. And this reason alone is why I am running for school board in Ohio this upcoming election.
Wow.
Parents, please pay attention to what is going on in our schools. If we are not aware, this will continue.
100%.
Also, don't forget to share this with a friend. A lot of parents really don't know what's going on, and I don't blame you for that whatsoever, but after watching this video, you have to get informed.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Stay informed.
Let's send this to the moon. So I haven't included all these links. I didn't know which ones I'll get to, but I'll add them after. So just check back in. Share all this far and wide. Another war tactic. It's breaking up the family unit, the nuclear family. It's weakening us because what do we really have to fight for? What does it matter? Let's just focus on our selfish selves. When you don't have this beautiful built out family unit, community, infrastructure, one nation under God. The weaponization of words, the evil intent behind an illusion of our rights. This just boils my blood. But we must acknowledge what's actually taking place. All these unorganic war tactics going on right here, right now around us.
Calling the Care Clinic in
Care
Bethesda,
Clinic.
Maryland.
Thank you for calling Care. How can I help you?
I am looking to have an abortion.
How far along are you?
I'm 34 right now. I am in a pretty desperate situation. My boyfriend is kind of out of the picture now, so I don't really have any support.
An abortion at any stage is actually much safer than delivering a term pregnancy. It's a 4 to 5 day procedure. We do some basic lab work on you and start to dilate your cervix. After that, we do what we call the fetal injection. A needle is inserted through the abdomen and into the fetal heart where lidocaine is injected, and that will completely numb the fetus so there's no pain. And then after that, we inject a medication called digoxin and another medication called KCL into the fetal heart, which will slow and then stop the fetal heartbeat. And then on that 4th day, depending on how your cervix is dilated, we'll break your water, and then we'll give you a medication called misoprostol. Misoprostol will sort of induce contraction and increase the dilation of your cervix. You're going to have contractions and cramping, and then we'll assist you in sort of pushing in the induction and then remove all of the products of conception. You're definitely going to feel discomfort and cramping and a lot of pressure, but we do give you fentanyl and Versed during the procedure. We specialize in later trimester care. Our doctor is very well versed in what he's doing, and he's very good.
So I'm not like a rare situation. Y'all help women this late in pregnancy all the time?
All the time.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am, for exposing them and doing what you're doing. She's obviously not, I don't know if she's pregnant, but you know, you could tell her intent was actually to expose under the guise of care what they're actually doing. If you actually look at the footage, you see what's going on, and these lives being formed in the womb. It is murder. And, I want to put a warning out there to the very individual that answered the call, that was using their very well crafted verbiage as removing products versus arms and legs and hearts and an actual life, tearing apart a baby, using the word fetus instead of a baby in the womb, being formed, being created. There is light when life happens. God talks about it very specifically, being knit in the womb. It is nothing shy of murder. So I want to put a warning out to that lady that answered the call. Any doctor, anyone behind murdering innocent life that has no way of protecting itself other than what we provide. Change your ways. Repent today. Because I genuinely feel if we unite, there won't be a place you can hide. And I find it egregious that we've been so mind warped that for doctors that provided these services for healthy women that were under no threat, murdering, who knows, how many can they perform in a day? So murdering countless lives. Let's actually talk about potentially instilling harmful speech and things of that nature. What's more harmful? Asking for a trial of these individuals that potentially could lead to the death penalty for murdering countless innocent lives? Is that what we're now acknowledging is hate speech? Or harmful, calls to action or something, or sitting idly by and allowing them to continuously murder innocent lives. We all should ponder that and sit on that. We have been manipulated. When you actually look into the footage, you actually look at the development, the miracle that takes place within a woman's body in creating life, it becomes clear. There's no gray area. From the point of conception, life is being formed. It's no different whether you just showed up and ripped me apart than that they want to call fetus. There's literally no difference. That is life being formed. I'm just a life that's already fully formed. There really is no gray area. It's my body, my choice regarding the very specific act that creates life. To eradicate responsibility after partaking in that act is insanity and wrong and demonic and evil. And evil's preying upon too many good people's hearts to perpetuate this delusion. So I challenge those engaged. No money is worth it. No career. None of that is worth it. You potentially will go down for murder. And I'm going to do everything I can to ensure those are held accountable. And we all should do that. Better a millstone tied around your neck. It becomes clear. God wants us to protect the innocence of children. Even tells us in this mortal state that we are better off seeking meekness and the humbleness of childhood. Because we never fully grasp what it's all about. That's one of the biggest character defects in this life is know-it-all syndrome. We need to stay meek and humble. This is just crazy. The simple fact, more than like 1 million abortions and murders are happening in this country. And the current runner-up, Kamala, that's one of her main, because evil's been so effective in warping and manipulating the minds and hearts and spiritual connections as though it's a human, our right to enact murder and eradicate the actual responsibility of the very specific act that creates life. No. That's walking in such an immoral, like it's disrupting all our connections. It's just inviting the demonic right in. It's horrific. We cannot rule out responsibility in this life. And this right here, this young lady does a fantastic job is to really exposing what it is that is warping the minds, especially the younger minds. But it's all of us to an extent. And this is very poetic. We actually played this quite a while back, but I just feel profoundly. It's another one of those amazing clips we could play on every single episode.
Our parents were right, it was the damn phones. We laughed when we were children, hearing it's that Snapgram and InstaChat and Face Talk. They didn't understand, they couldn't even say it right. I thought I knew better than them. They didn't know what it was like having a world to the tip of our fingers. We scrolled through the trash so much we have headlines tattooed on our skin. Wow. Wires for veins, AI for a brain, and they may not have understood, but they were right. It is the damn phones. A drug in my pocket dependent on stimulation, but can we blame us? We were but children when they were given. We didn't know how to stop it. If I added up all the hours I spent on a screen, existential dread and regret would creep in, so I ignore this fact by typing away. Wow. And it's not like I can throw away my phone. It's how we communicate, it's how we relate, it's the medicine that is surely making our souls die. Wow. I used to say I was born in the wrong generation, but I was mistaken, for do I not do everything I say I hate? Wow. When I look in the mirror, I see a ghost staring back. I try not to think about who I would be without technology. The character behind my phone screen has become self-aware. Almost worse than being naive, for I know it's poison, but I drink anyways. We used to be scared of robots gaining consciousness, to lie by the media companies to keep us distracted, as to not ourselves become conscious of the mess that they have created. We are the robots, we are the products, right. And so I sit and I scroll and I rot on repeat. Sit and scroll and rot until my own thoughts are what's being fed to me on TV, until my own feelings are wrapped in celebrities, until my body is a tool of my political identity, and so I sit and I scroll and I rot. And so I post on the internet how the internet has failed us, so that I may not fail my internet presence. Wow. I think our parents were right. It was the damn phones. I think our parents...
Should I just let that play on repeat? That just hit me in such a profound way there in the end. We must acknowledge what's actually happened and stop lying to ourselves. Face the reflection in the mirror. We all got responsibility on behalf of all our brothers and sisters, not ourselves, not just our families, all of God's children. Just absorb that last one. We can't allow ourselves to just be manipulated. It's been far too effective.
Using up my time. You do this every single time. You do this every single time. And it's a fact, and you know it, and I know it.
By the way, we're transitioning now into another war tactic. What's happening with the invasion? All these criminals, not one of them are not. We have laws in place, and they're invading our country unlawfully, which makes them all criminal. Some, sure, might not have malintent, but there is a big portion of them, and we'll expose it. We have some insiders that have actually communicated with the cartels, and there's a lot of this invasion where they do in fact have hateful intent to America, to Americans, to our society, to our laws. And you can see that happening with mostly women and children becoming victims of these individuals in this country. Where are the freaking men? We're so self-serving. Does it take one of our loved ones to be horrifically impacted for us to get engaged? Well, it's more than likely going to be too late for that loved one. Let's unite in such a powerful way right now to save that loved one from dealing with that horrific, unimaginable experience in this life.
That the more people you allow into our country illegally, the more people are counted for reapportionment. And the more people that you allow into our country illegally, the more people are counted for allocating electoral votes. Now, maybe that's a coincidence.
Wow. It's not.
But that's a fact.
But it is a fact.
And you know that. And you've done nothing for 4 years.
You know what? They've done some things to assist in the invasion, not stop it.
Nada. Zero.
Absolutely false.
Zilch. And in fact, the only people I know in this country who are better off today than they were 4 years ago are illegal immigrants. And that's as a result of your policy.
Yes, it is. We need to speak frankly.
You're using up my time.
When it comes to evildoers actually acting things out that are leading to more death, wouldn't it lead to a better outcome by addressing them, even if it meant a lynching post to minimize thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions from suffering? We're being demonized, speaking out on accountability as though we're inciting violence when they are fulfilling violence, horrific violence, and they've weaponized the things to imprison and shut down and silence individuals that would hold them accountable. Let's say it for what it is. We need to gain more support to seek proper accountability for these treasonous acts from these individuals. And here we go. There is situation after situation and it's happening today in this country. It will happen tonight. It's going to happen tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. And it's getting ramped up more and more and more as these evildoers are allowed to continue their war against us.
On August 31st, 2024, at approximately 5:23 a.m., a 911 call came in for the address of 329 Knapp Avenue. The call initially came in as a fire at the location. Irondequoit Police, as well as personnel from the Irondequoit Fire Department, St. Paul Fire Department, the Point Pleasant Fire Department, and Irondequoit Ambulance responded to the location. The fire inside the structure was quickly addressed and brought under control. While searching the location, several individuals were located inside and found to be deceased. The names of the deceased are Faraday Ubaldo, he's a 30-year-old male from 3029 Knapp Avenue. I'm sorry about pronunciation on this. Marangeli Moreno Santiago, 26-year-old female from 329 Knapp Avenue. Evangeline Ubaldo Moreno, 4-year-old female from 329 Knapp Avenue. And Sebastian Ubaldo Moreno, 2-year-old male, 329 Knapp Avenue. Sorry. Due to the condition of the bodies, it was readily apparent that this was going to be a homicide investigation.
That's enough. This man's emotion. You could tell that's the type of man we need in these positions. Morally upright. You can't teach that type of emotion. And wow. An illegal immigrant a criminal invader was arrested for the murder after a family of 4 was found dead in their burning home. It's another war tactic, folks. And we're not to live in fear. We're not to fear the ones that are allowing this to happen. Enough is enough. Look at all the different war tactics. Let's give some biblical references. Maybe that'll give us the courage. Maybe that'll give us the strength. Maybe that'll give us the clarity to do our part, to hold ourselves accountable and responsible. Let's look into some attitude. Perspective and attitude is all things we could work on that would help provide the actual solutions as we improve it. What a beautiful roadmap God gave us in this life, our actual loving creator God. And I like disclaimering that because a lot of people view their God as the loving creator, but in fact is the demonic one masquerading. Proof of that is individuals that believe in a God, but they're pro-murder, my rights. Self-proclaimed Christians speaking out and supporting their rights. That's not coming from our loving creator. 100%. We could look into abortion. You know what? Let's do both of those, shall we? But let's focus on our attitude. Bad attitudes hurt our relationship with God. Genesis 4:6-7. Bad attitudes lead to poor decisions. Numbers 14:1-4. Always trust God for your life. Proverbs 29:25. Choose a positive attitude. Why am I not that familiar with, I don't even know how to say that. Habakkuk. Why am I not familiar with that? 3:17-19. So you could see, I consider myself a baby Christian. I believe I will forever be one. That meekness, no matter how well biblically versed I become in this existence, always meek like a child. Here we go right here. God will reward the meek. Can't make this stuff up. Matthew 5:5. God gives Christians a new attitude. Philippians 1:20-25. We need to seek his will for us. We're all given unique gifts from God uniquely. So you may be going to be standing shoulder to shoulder with me. Similar gifts. It may be entirely different. And you're to support your family inside the home. There's so many. That's where we all need to seek his will above our own. He's got a better path for us all. And through love and unification, we can actually hold evil and the evildoers in this existence masquerading as though they care, acting out of love, accountable for their actual evil criminal deeds. God gives Christians, okay, we did that one. We should imitate Jesus' attitude. So there's one of the first images I believe that was even painted of Jesus actually kind of had the two faces where he had the loving, inviting embrace, and he had the face of more so a lion. So we should imitate Jesus' attitude. And you could see from his whip and then flipping tables, addressing the money exchangers and whatnot. This is a table flipping moment in time. Too many pastors and religions are masquerading as, turn the other cheek, and that's showing up out of love. Is it more loving to affirm someone's delusion and see them to mutilation and potentially being so miserable in this existence because there's no secret that the statistics are showing a horrific level leading to unhappiness and suicide with that mutilation? Or is it more loving? So we're to seek that guidance from him and tap into our personal gifts. But the attitude shift, when we give it all over to God, anything is achievable. And there's this clarity, there's this strength, there's this peace each and every day. Yes, mortally, it could be very challenging exposing all this and connecting these dots. But it just becomes that more convicting for me, and wanting to show up better, more refined, more resilient, more addressing it and from all the different angles to have positive impact. And there's peace to it. And there's no other way of facing warfare with peace without God's blessing and the armor of God. Christians should always rejoice, Philippians 4:4. Never be anxious, Philippians 4:6-7. Right here, abortion. You want to look into it biblically yourself, I challenge you to look up these, and there's many, many more. But God cares for the unborn. Exodus 21:23-25. We should protect the helpless. Psalm 82:3-4. Children are from God. Psalm 127:3. God forms every child. Psalm 139:13-14. Excuse me. God plans for the future of every child. Jeremiah 1-5. So here's another insider. This young man stepping up to the mic, dropping bombshells. His family are missionaries in Mexico. And what he speaks out regarding the cartel through the Democrat politicians to sex trafficking many thousands of little girls into the U.S. He says this evil has exploded under the Biden-Harris regime. Give it a listen for yourself. This young man isn't lying. And there's countless individuals. What happened to the 80,000 children that just went missing that we had possession of? And I believe it's well over 300,000 that are now accounted for missing in this very country. Not to mention our own children being preyed upon. The evil in this world truly has more than sexual perversions, but a bloodlust we can't even imagine.
I come from a missionary family to Mexico. We work with cartel members. We see them convert to Christianity, saying how they traffic thousands of children, specifically to Democratic politicians, and they actually said the biggest client for their product is the U.S. government, and that actually exploded under the Biden administration.
Wait, so the cartels were telling your family they were
directly in prison.
They were trafficking kids to Democrats?
Yes.
So it's legit. Cartels are trafficking kids as sex slaves for Democrats?
Yes.
Is this modern day slavery?
Yes, they are.
So just to give some detail for the
Ooh, I like Charlie Kirk's shirt there. Unmute yourself. It's kind of getting close to what we're trying to accomplish here. Being fully unmuzzled. The worst type of censorship is self-censorship. We got to stand up. We've got to become 3 times louder than evil and all its propagandists. Evil doesn't fight fair. It's infringing upon all our rights. So we got to get people over to rumble in these, like, in the masses.
Audience.
Yes, sir.
You have an 11-year-old girl.
Yes,
what
sir.
do they do with that girl?
They actually have to hide her. We were in Coahuila.
Uh-oh. Are we froze? Uh-oh. Hello? Are we froze? Have we been too unmuzzled? They're shutting us down? Wow. Hello? Uh-oh. Come on. Are we back? Folks. Oh my gosh. I might have to. That was one of seemingly the worst glitches we've ever experienced. Is it that we've become too effective on pointing certain things out? Holy smokes. Hang on, I'm just trying to refire things up here. Give me just a sec. For 39 seconds in, this doesn't want to play. Let's refresh the whole page. I'm going to have to find that now. That young man. We're going to get through it. I'm just doubling, tripling down at this point. 39 seconds in. How far down was that clip? Did it just drop off? Did it get pulled? No, here it is.
To Mexico. Yes.
So I apologize about the glitch. It seems like we're back in it. So let's continue.
We have to hide her. We were in Coahuila, which is where the Zetas were at. They just got eliminated, but they were the biggest traffickers. They actually kind of began to dismantle under the Trump presidency, even for the Mexican government.
Wow.
But the biggest, we've known people that had to leave states, hide them, literally take them, like just completely.
And these girls become prostitutes
100%.
At 12 years old.
Yeah, parents have sold their kids into it just to survive.
So when you hear that 320,000 kids have gone missing under Kamala Harris.
320,000 children gone missing under Harris and Biden's regime. This is unacceptable. Y'all see the sound of freedom? We cannot walk in ignorance any longer. We all have a role to play. I pray we all take that serious today. Share this to the moon. That's one of the steps, one of the calls to action. Engaging in the platform. Where else? Help us blow up to magnify your voice. I guess there's some open invitations to other platforms to do the same. Well, reach out to them too. We got this together, folks.
100% accurate. We see thousands and thousands of migrants on top of trains coming across, just destroying everything across the path.
Wow.
Do they mean America well or harm?
Absolutely harm.
So the cartel works with the American government.
There you hear it. Obviously, it won't be every single person that criminally invades this country, but the majority of them, they freaking hate us.
100%. So
to bring these kids as sex slaves. Yeah.
Yes.
This is not a joke, everybody.
This is not.
We've been saying this for a long time.
You guys can go. We have Facebook pages and everything.
It's the largest sex slave trade in the world history.
100%.
And Kamala Harris is overseeing it and co-signing on it.
Good on that young man. Thank you for exposing what you know. We're gonna mash through all of this. So once again, yes, we played this on the other day. And there's more powerful imagery than even this out there. But I want you guys, we gotta rule out the defective wiring that has us believing lies and not seeing things honestly with what we're seeing with our own eyes. Then we can start questioning the things coming into our ears and our subconscious, just everything. Humble ourselves. But this can't happen by their definition of a natural contrail. That's a shut-off switch, or they ran out of product. Okay? So that entirely right here debunks their definition of a natural contrail. So fully absorb this. What you're seeing. I've seen this time and time again. If you pay any attention to the skies around you and you got these streaks happening, it's only a matter of time where you see this. You actually see definitive starting points where it seems they are specifically targeting areas. Okay? So this debunks their narrative entirely. So it's no longer a question as though if we are being sprayed. The question now transitions, words, James, into what they are spraying over our heads. What has been up to this point exposed as to what products are being sprayed. It's aluminum, barium, plastics, things I can't even technically pronounce. So if you want more in-depth deep dive, just look up Franken Skies on Rumble. We've exposed that before, and there's many, many other documentaries. If you're more data driven and you don't want something more so entertaining, but like real specifics and more so boring stats and stuff, like information, there's tons exposing what's actually happening. Okay. And this is another thing to this day that could get me bans and strikes on a lot of the platforms. So the censorship is to keep us in the dark. But who's to say they don't weaponize this with worse things when they perfect, let's say, their mRNA, DNA changing, altering. I mean, they've stated it. They have the technology to control the masses, that humans are now hackable animals. Who's to say they don't add in things that add to the hack ability of our free agency? We got to take it serious. And we must speak out on it. We must put a stop to this. Today, it's still happening insanely right here in Arizona. I see it basically every day. It doesn't matter where I am. It seems to be happening more so around the city populations, but I'm seeing it directly targeted out here in the sticks in nature. We can't lie to ourselves on these things, folks, and there's nothing conspiratorial about it when you look into the data. So this is pretty alarming, because these rabbis are saying it out loud. And yet, so many folks refuse to see what they are saying, hear what they are saying. It is kind of fascinating how effective they've been at dumbing us down to not even absorbing what so many threats have been stating themselves. Give it a listen.
Command to wipe out from among all the descendants of Esav, descendants of Amalek, male and female, young and old. And that is why Amalek is so terrible, and it has to be totally uprooted. Therefore, God tells us we should erase their memory, and we should eradicate them from the face of the earth. Who is Amalek? Amalek comes from Esav. Esav was a brother to Jacob.
Esav, who in modern day terms is really basically, certainly one of them is America.
Right there. They want to eradicate Americans. They believe their God. Anyone. This is what it tears up my heart. Because I like to feel there's individuals that practice Judaism and whatnot that are loving, that care about the prosper. Wow, I'm tripping up over words. But for all humanity to prosper, right? I like to feel that. But there's ones that literally we can't touch because it's anti-Semitic And there's infringements on our free speech to even ask questions. And that's where I'm genuinely posing. Like, how is it so coincidental, the image we pulled up regarding everyone behind the shots claiming, Jews? So many in the Senate, same thing. So many in our Congress, same thing. How is it that less than 2% have made it into these prominent positions? And they're all being supported by AIPAC, which is essentially, we're sending like trillions to Israel, and AIPAC that is just coming back, keeping like this circle of corruption of our politicians, of our individuals of influence. I will even challenge Charlie Kirk. He seems to have blind allegiance in that regard too. When these actual rabbis are speaking of the destruction of not just Western civilization, but white folks from this country and Europeans, it's demonic. I don't want to demonize any believers in this life or any particular races. We gotta unmuzzle ourselves and truly question, how is the less than 2% seemingly overtaking all these institutions? It's not by coincidence. There's a legit structured organization behind it all. That's clearly not our loving creator. These individuals, gods that they're following to the destruction of wiping people and their memory off of this existence. That's evil. That's the devil they're worshiping. The destroyer, the deceiver, the liar. And they believe, because they're so deceived, that they're in fact fulfilling good on behalf of their God.
Asa became Edom, which is a nation. Edom became Rome. Instead of it being Rome, it became Christianity. Christianity, of course, ultimately became Western civilization. So Asa of today is really Western civilization.
But the new Rome, the United States,
Asa is Europe, the United States.
The throne of God is incomplete until we destroy Amalek.
Any nation that has that religion can be considered Asa.
The audacity, the chutzpah, to destroy Amalek and to cut off the offsprings of the nation of command to.
So many of these individuals are behind porn in this country. They're behind the LGB. They're behind the abortion, breaking up Christianity, breaking up our bloodlines, breaking up everything. We must see it for what it is. It's true war tactics, and it's become far too effective. To openly talking about wiping Christianity off of the earth. I'm not even talking about it's like we need to expose the corruption and we need to expose anyone that's committing crimes against humanity, and those people should be dealt with. But I'd hope that there's a flourishing amount of Jews that don't have those ill intents. But why are so many rabbis, and the information is freaking overwhelming, and they've effectively preyed and infiltrated so many seemingly religions, as though even Israel is God's chosen people, as though the Jews are God's chosen people. Based on the New Testament, no, that is incorrect. Anyone who chooses Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, that's God's chosen people. We're being deceived, misled, any churches that aren't exposing and asking questions and trying to get to the bottom and staying out of politics and whatnot, like, you should ask for transparency with your tithes and donations to these organizations, because there's true Christians out there willing to face all these things to the actual betterment and the COVID shots and all these war tactics, so we can ensure the right to even practice. It's they've infiltrated so many of the churches, and you see it, and it's super sad, and it's what's perpetually leading us down a very dark path as a country, and we're being deceived. That's why I see it most important in today's day and age to seek a direct connection with God. You don't need any stepping stools. It's not through any pastor. It's not through any freaking church. That could increase your resolve to an extent, but you need to, from my experience, it's been so beautiful to put relationship with God over any religion. So I feel I'm protected in a way of not falling for any false sense of idolship in any defective individual in this existence. And that happens in organized religion. Anyway, it's just been a great blessing in my life. I hope in sharing, like my testimony, it only increases your connection and God's will for you in this life. That's it. That's the intent. That's all. They say it all. Cool. Some other things that Klaus Schwab has stated. I mean, this right here was the clip. You can listen. Humans are now hackable animals. It's indisputable and insane. But other crazy things. The fact, this self-proclaimed Jew, quote, I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last 40 years. I think it's a role model for many countries, because they've effectively been they've created a communist and a broken, essentially, people that really just don't push back. They fulfill their roles on behalf of like the whole infrastructure. That's the model they want. They want to lower the world population to a point they feel secure with the two-tiered infrastructure they've built out. It's as simple as that. That's what he's speaking out on. And we're not grasping that. Nobody will be safe if not everybody is vaccinated. The gaslighting. Unbelievable. How effective those type of damning rhetorics were. So now they're under the guise of combating misinformation and extremist views. They were the ones behind the collusion with our government or the orders. They're more so the slave masters to an extent, but even then, I believe the true slave masters and Rockefellers and Rothschilds, and there's other family names that aren't really more so in the public eye. I personally can account for like 10 families, but it's probably like 15 families that are pulling all the strings. It's crazy. But there's a projection here we got to understand. They are the extremists. They are the misinformationists. And the infringement on our First Amendment is proof of just that. Implants in our brains can immediately tell how people react crazy. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, the World Economic Forum. Incredible. Okay, let's plug some affiliations I am so grateful to have. Black Eagle Apparel. This is the owner, Alex. Shout out to Alex and his company and everything they're doing. Here's just a little clip. We must support warriors like this. He's a veteran, and let's get some freedom merch. Let's support him by getting it, but also stand for something.
Thank you for being here. That's all we get from our customers. So guess what, everybody? Let me give you a word of advice. We were told not to start a patriotic apparel company because it's too controversial.
Wow.
But we believe God, because God speaks to you in your mind over some negative Nancy's out there.
Yes.
So to our customers, as a thank you today and tomorrow, this weekend, we're going to be serving free coffee. So come to Black Eagle Apparel store in Arizona City and get yourself free coffee on us. Thank you guys very much. We love you. Have an outstanding weekend.
Keep up the good work, Alex. We need more people to stand for something, because when you don't, you fall for everything. I love Stand Up Now and what Gerard is doing, and he's going around constantly. Like he's picking up some steam with these more so trendy clips just going around. But let's support him and his Stand Up Now narrative with God made. He's just bringing it all. They're providing solutions for us, folks. They're leading by example.
Are you planning on watching that debate?
Yes.
Have you made your mind up who you're going to vote for, Trump or Kamala?
No.
Do you plan on...
How are people? Oh my gosh. So misled. This poor gentleman's entirely brainwashed.
On watching that debate?
Of course, 100%.
For sure. Have you already made your mind up who you're going to vote for, Trump or Kamala?
Everybody knew that everybody voting for Harris. Nobody going to vote for Trump.
Wow.
It could be a cockroach running in the Democratic Party I would vote for.
Over Trump?
Over Trump.
See, that is just downright illogical. It actually becomes proof that's not even a rational thinker. You'll vote a cockroach over Trump. So it's not even about Kamala. It's not about her policies. It's not about her lies, her gaslighting. The reality of all her empty promises, they're not going to come true, because she has an opportunity to do that right here, right now, in the past almost 4 years now. And they haven't done it. And they're not going to do it. So it's the empire lies. But this proves mass psychosis and manipulation, to where the war machine that demonized Orange Man bad tactics becoming so effective that you just hate him so much, you'll vote a cockroach over him. Ludicrous. Unbelievable. That is not going to lead to any solutions. We must gain discernment. Is Trump perfect? No. In fact, this lady coming up here shortly words it quite beautifully about Trump.
Anybody over Trump.
Do you plan on watching that debate?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Have you already made your mind up who you're going to vote for, Trump or Kamala?
Yes, I wouldn't vote for Kamala. She has flip-flopped on every issue. She has a communist background.
Right. What's one reason why you're going to vote for Trump as a woman voter?
There are issues with Trump.
Yeah.
I wouldn't date him. But his policies, this made this country strong and prosperous.
Are you listening? Yep. Check out both these men. Not only have apparel companies, they also have podcasts themselves. You could look them up, but click the links below. You get discounts and just get some freedom merch. Through Black Eagle Apparel exclusively, you can get your Unmuzzled Chat t-shirt. You know, I need to reach out to Alex. There's more designs we, in fact, want to come out with and provide all of you. Because the problem kind of with our little image there, it is hard to read, and that's not a good strategy on advertising. Thank you, folks. I know it can be challenging to acknowledge, and we didn't even cover all the war tax. We didn't dive into the food and the water and fluoride and all these other things that are diminishing our light, our cognitive function, the abilities to even discern and have the extra energy to do our parts. They've effectively diminished us, demoralized us in a huge way. So truly, I feel a solution is to put on the armor of God and take care of our bodies. We cannot walk in ignorance. I just love you all. Thank you for your support. I don't mean to be confrontational. I literally want to address evildoers to minimize the suffering and the impacts that they're having on all of us. We got to rule out corruption and all the secrecy in order to even have a fair chance at really getting to the bottom of things. And united, we can achieve that. Jesus is calling. Let's answer. September 16th. That is today. Yep. I designed you to live in union with me. This union does not negate who you are. It actually makes you more fully yourself. So right there, let's grasp that. More fully yourself. Truly free. Truly free. It's the only way. When you try to live independent from me, you experience emptiness and dissatisfaction. You may gain the whole world and yet lose everything that really counts. So true. I know this to be true because I lived selfishly. I lived that emptiness. I know firsthand. And there's no greater blessing I've experienced in this life than feeling His love for me and for each and every one of you. Let's not keep that door closed to our own detriment. Mortally, it can be very difficult. How does a God that loves us so lets all this evil? It's a very good question. The best moral explanation I have is He loves us so much. He's all about free agency. We're to experience it all in this life. He's destroyed the people many times over, it seems, even biblically. But He promised us they wouldn't do that again. He would allow us to live out our flaws. So it boils down to our choice, who we want to become our follower, who we want to follow in this existence. And let's not be misled and deceived. I was misled and deceived. And I more so was gaining the fun, lively things in this experience, but it did fall empty. So when we actually tap into this and feel the meaning and purpose and our purpose and tap into our gifts, what a blessing. Find fulfillment through living close to me, yielding to my purposes for you. Though I may lead you along paths that feel alien to you, trust that I know what I am doing. If you follow me wholeheartedly, you will discover facets of yourself that were previously hidden. I know you intimately, far better than you know yourself. In union with me, you are complete. In closeness to me, you are transformed more and more into the one I designed you to be. No comment. That is powerful. I challenge you to look up these biblical scripture references. I imagine will only enhance everything it just encapsulated. That was so powerful and beautiful right there. We got Mark 8:36, Psalm 139, 13 through 16, and 2 Corinthians 3, 17, 18. Golly, I feel so limited in this mortal state. What a blessing to tap into those gifts. This little prayer book. There's another one on trust. The title's Nothing Can Stop Me Now. He will have no fear of bad news. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. Psalm 1. It's at 112.7. The prayer reads, Lord, lately I have been waiting for the how do you say that? Proverbial? I butcher words. I apologize, folks. I have a lot. Proverbial other shoe to drop. I face some difficulties like I'm facing now. I am now afraid to trust you with what could happen next. My body feels tight with anticipation and further hardship rather than blessing. The world tells me that struggle is a sign of weakness or is the fruit of failure. But because I know you and your ways, I understand how trials are blessings. My dependence on you becomes a life of freedom. I am moving forward today. I trust your will, Lord. Amen. That's just it. All these trials aren't necessarily of God, from God. We often blame God, but He's there to turn them into blessings. That's a silver lining of the pandemic. All the malintent, evil exposing its hand. Let's tap into the blessings. Let's have some personal accountability and let's build more momentum together. I appreciate you and your support, your shares, your everything. Let's just get these messages out. We covered a lot of connecting the dots today. It can be tough to come to terms with what's actually taking place, but the more we tap into our loving Creator, He will give us the resilience. He'll give us the path to giving more solutions. I love you. God bless you. God bless America. Until next time, take care.